Is your daughter responding differently to your parenting compared to your son? Here's why. Hello, I'm Pico the Son, and tonight with me is
Mommy the Grace.
Mommy the Grace. And tonight we're going to talk about differences in raising a son versus a daughter. So, Mommy, when you're raising a son versus a daughter, what are the key differences?
The differences siguro would lie on the ways in which the two sexes handle relationships. For parents out there, the first tip I would have would be with regards to bonding. Okay. So, men kasi, or boys, bond by sharing an activity. So, with men, when you are in that vicinity, even when you're not speaking or when you're not actually doing the activity with them, it counts as bonding already.
Parang what we refer to as side to side.
Side to side. So, for example, when Pico was smaller, what I would do to bond with him was to actually knock. And then, if he's doing something, I would hang around him. Even though I'm not speaking, which is weird when it's a daughter. So, I know that just by being with him, he feels like it's bonding already.
So, what you mean by that is, if, for example, I would be like playing with my Game Boy or on my computer.
I would make sure that I would be a little bit near to you, even if I'm not actually sharing that game with you.
Yeah.
I know that by doing that, kasi boys have like, they do side-to-side activities. That would already count to you as me trying to be close to
Bonding,
you.
yeah.
Bonding na yun.
There would be no exchange of words
Yes,
whatsoever.
not needed. Of course, after a little bit of time, nagkakaroon din ng a little bit of exchange of words. Pero I don't need to rely on words to be able to draw close to him. So, that's for a son. But with a daughter, kailangan talaga conversation. Face-to-face naman. Right? So, you would really have to ask, oh, how was school? What's happening with you? How are you feeling? How's this friend na nga ba of yours? Kayo pa ba? Ganon. So, it's really talking. Looking at the person eye to eye. Kasi girls naman like to see the face, right? And read the body movements. KTP, if I come home, I would not just sit with her. That doesn't count. I have to talk with her when she's ready to talk. So, I guess that's one difference. Yeah.
So, it's face-to-face time for girls and side-to-side time for guys.
So, for me, I'm not really bothered if Pico doesn't speak to me. As long as I spend the space with him for a bit of time. Kahit 1 hour kami and I just hang around him, okay lang yun.
I guess it would help with the awareness of, say, probably parents watching the video, but also, parang that's the default, at least for them to know na for guys, generally, of course there are always exceptions, generally, side-to-side time is enough to be considered bonding.
Yes. Another is the tone of voice that you use when you are correcting. Kasi syempre, as a parent, you have correction duties, right? With Pico, when I have something that I need to correct in his behavior, I have to calm myself down. The more painful the message, the bigger the correction I have to make, the lower the tone of voice.
Right? Even if you're above me and you're my mother.
Yes. So, it doesn't matter if I'm the mother and he's the son. But simply because he's male, I cannot speak to him in a high note. Men shut down. They shut down. Parang refrigerator, you turn off the plug. They shut down when you're speaking in a high tone. Right? That's how all men are.
And this is based on Egerik's findings. Tama ba?
Yes. It's from Love and Respect. Right? So, with men, when you speak to them in a high tone, they kind of dismiss you because they think you're very emotional and cannot be trusted. Right? And the second is, they try not to engage because when the note is high, it arouses anger, right? And they start to struggle with themselves to say, keep calm, keep calm, keep calm. Nanay mo yan. Right? Hindi mo pwedeng suntukin yan. You cannot box him or engage her because she's a loved one, right? So they have a tendency not to listen to the message because they're busy trying to keep the emotion down.
Okay.
Right? So if it's a man that I'm talking to, I know that he does not have the capacity to listen, to receive my message kung mataas ang tone ko. So if I have to correct him about something that he did or what I noticed about him, I would have to keep that voice down. Like say, Pico, alam mo kanina, I noticed this about you. Ganyan. Yun yung method of correction mo.
Yeah. Parang I imagine a scenario wherein someone is telling me something harsh in a high tone of voice. And my internal resources are focused on, again, like what you said, trying not to get angry or venting out or retorting. And that impedes my ability to receive the message.
Yes, you cannot process it, di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi what you're trying to do is to try and keep
Just
your
to
emotions
try
down.
not to get
Yes.
mad.
So in a way, it's not
counterproductive.
it's not efficient kasi your purpose is to correct it. And if the person who is due for a correction is not able to receive it, why do it anyway? It's just a waste of time, right?
Okay.
So that's with a man. Pero with TP, ay kaya ng girl mag-process kahit mataas ang tone. Right? So with TP, I can be confrontational. Like, TP, I didn't like what you did kanina. Di ba? And she would say, why, mommy? What happened? Di ba?
Which wouldn't be an issue for you.
Not an issue for her. Like, she's able to process it even when the emotions are high. Then, you'd go back and forth. And then she would say, I'm sorry, mommy. So, that's another thing. The
There would be no
sorry.
hard feelings.
Yes, no hard feelings. That's another thing, the ending of the confrontation, aside from the tone. With a man, when it's okay, he drops it. Sabihin niya, okay na yan. That's it. I know when a man says, okay na, wag na natin pag-usapan, it really means that it's okay with him. Alright? With women kasi hindi. Ang ending dapat ng women is, okay, I realize it. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It has to end with an apology.
Yes, it has to end with an apology on both sides. Even when I correct, she will also usually tell me my contribution to that mistake. And then I'll think about it and then I'll say, okay. If that's how it looked to you, then I'm sorry. And then she will say, I'm sorry also, mommy. That's how it ends. But for men, okay na, mommy. Drop. Before, I would be so frustrated when men drop the conversation. But now I understand it. When they say, okay na, ayos na yan. Ayos na talaga yan. Kahit hindi sila nag-sorry. So, I guess that's another thing, right? Sa inyo, di ganun, di ba? Pag okay na, drop na. That's it. Here's another tip. When you ask men about stuff, they keep quiet, and then after that, they can tell you at once. They process internally without having to undergo an analysis. But with girls, ay hindi. They have to speak first. Girls don't know how they feel about anything unless they speak about it. So if you tell a girl, would you like to go out for lunch? She processes that by speaking. Sabihin niya, medyo pagod na kasi ako, mami. Then, you say, okay, so dito na tayo sa bahay. Tapos sabi niya, kaso walang pagkain sa bahay. So sabi ko, so mas gusto mo lumabas. Pero mainit eh. So you shouldn't be frustrated. Kasi by speaking, she's kind of asking herself, what are the pros and what are the cons? And you have to go through with it with her.
Yeah.
Unlike a man, when you ask, Pico, gusto mo ba kumain sa labas?
Ayoko.
Sabi niya, mag-isip siya sandali.
Ayoko, mami. Dito na lang.
Yes, tapos na.
Yeah.
Diba? So that's what we did kanina,
Yeah.
diba? Sabi mo, pagod na ako, mami, lumabas. Ikaw, okay. So, saan tayo order? Bilis lahat.
Parang what happens kasi with the man is that processing that you described where she says, it's too hot, but there's no food at home, all those things. A man or a guy does in his head. Internally, not externally. That's why the
So you
answer...
calculate it na, di ba? Kaya very frustrating kung hindi mo alam. Or if a man is talking to a woman, it's the same with relationships, with husband and wife, ganon. So, minsan, a man gets frustrated with a girl, no? Kasi she keeps on vacillating. Parang gusto ko, tapos parang hindi okay, tapos parang gusto ko. But you're actually processing it kasi you don't know how you feel, right? So, with TP, I know it's not always a period agad. So, when she says, Mommy, do you think I should wear this? And I say, I don't know. Isn't it a bit too short? Sabi niya. Eh, kasi that's the norm now eh. Sabi ko, alright. Pero I know she's not yet finished.
Yeah.
Kasi she needs me to process it with her. Right? She's not being makulit, vacillating back and forth.
I think that would help people watching with regards to like men not finding or not thinking that their counterpart women or that their
Coworker.
child or their daughter or whoever,
partner.
their partner is indecisive in a way because they understand that it's just processing.
Processing, yes. You're waiting.
Yeah.
Diba? Nothing's definite yet.
Yeah.
Until she says, okay, that's it. That's what I want.
Yeah, and that helps you become patient because you know that it's a process and that helps the girl or your daughter come to a conclusion or a decision. Whereas if you had thought that your daughter thought like you and you were a man, you would think, why is my daughter so indecisive, wishy-washy, vacillating all the time?
Yes.
You find it weird or complexing.
It's easier with the man kasi when I ask him, he thinks about it first and say, if he doesn't know, he'll say, let me get back to you on that, Mommy.
Yeah. Or that would be the time that I would explicitly say, I'm not sure, what do you think?
Pwede rin yun. Isa pa yun, you never give men advice unless they ask for it. Diba? With women kasi, you can eh. Even if they're not asking for advice, you can. But with a man, you have to wait. Otherwise, they think you think they're not capable. And that's not okay with them. Right? So, I would give him advice if he says, what do you think, Mommy?
Yeah.
Then I would. But otherwise, hindi. I wait.
Yeah.
So, there are kind of some differences that you need to know when you're relating with a daughter or a son. And you use those techniques so that you can get a better communication.
I'm sure there are a lot more, like when a daughter shares her emotions, sometimes she just wants to be heard, or when she shares her problems.
Yes,
diba? Versus a guy who wants
things fixed.
suggestions
For
okay.
fixing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they'd like to hear more, comment down below and
Yeah.
we can make another video for
Yes.
more tips with regards to differences between
Being a man and a woman.
a man and
Yes.
a woman, a daughter and a son, and how to cope with either or both. All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. 3, 2, 1. Is your daughter responding to your son differently? Mali. Mali yung sinabi ko.
Is
To
your
son
daughter?
differently.
Daughter
daw?
responding. Responding to the son.
Okay, take 2. And tonight we're going to talk about... Okay. And tonight we're going to talk about differenting... Tonight we're going to talk about... What are we going to talk about?
Daling araw na kasi.
Differenting. I-edit ko na lang.